Good morning, Schwing Dynasty. Welcome to a happy Thursday here in Doha, Qatar. Your commissioner coming to you with the week 11 commish picks. Ready to get rolling here. Chose this song for a reason. Little intro music here. Hopefully you guys can hear it. Aerosmith here. One of the weirdest music videos I've ever seen. Not really too into certain clips of it. If you've ever seen it, you might be able to guess what they are. But it's got the kid from Terminator 2. One of the most annoying voices in Hollywood. His prepubescent breaking voice in Terminator 2 nearly ruined the movie. Anyways, that's living on the edge. That's the theme of this week because a number of us are living on the edge. I am living on the edge of a first round bye. I'm pretty confident in my playoff chances, but I am on the edge of first round bye. We got Daryl, Mark, Sean, all living on the edge of playoff contention or playoff elimination. Daryl, Mark, Sean, Bert, JD, all living on the edge of playoff contention. Lucas is living on the edge of passing me for that first round bye. Adam and Phil are living on the edge of that number one pick. So the theme, and the only person who's not living on the edge is Steve, because he's a butthole with a butthole defense. Who will be back again playing this week against another pretty decent matchup for the New England defense against Philadelphia this week. So Steve is living on the edge, though, of his second loss this week. It's looking like there's a very big chance of that. So let's get into these commish picks. All right, living on the edge this week. Okay. I had a tough time picking game of the week this week, a really tough time with it. But I went with one that at first did not jump off the page to me. It did not seem like game of the week, but given the theme, living on the edge, I think it was the perfect choice for me for game of the week. You might have another one you're more focused on, probably your own. I try to keep all of you in mind, try to keep this league moving forward. I'm trying to build, keep building this thing. Get you guys, make sure everyone's into this. So, first game I'll go over is, and this always seems to happen, is me, because as you all will notice when you open up Sleeper app, the first game that pops up, of course, is your own. So mine always pops up first. So I usually, unless I'm the game of the week, which I am not this week, and it was a close choice for me, I almost went with me against Daryl for the game of the week, but I did not. So, that is a great matchup right now. Me versus Daryl. We've each got some players on some buys. I've got Saquon out. That's hurt. I don't think he's going to go 1 yard on 13 carries again like last week. So I would like to have Saquon Barkley in my lineup. That's something that appeals to me. It's why I drafted him number 2 overall. But he is out this week. So right now I am at 7-3. Second place in the Schwing Dynasty. Daryl's at 5-5 in that big group in the middle who are just fighting for those final playoff positions, all against each other. Right now, the projection has me at 173 and Daryl at 168, and this comes down to 2 matchups for me. The first is a rookie battle: Josh Jacobs versus David Montgomery. Daryl Montgomery. My opponent, Daryl Montgomery, has David Montgomery on his team, and I have Josh Jacobs. That is really big to me. I need Josh Jacobs to beat Daryl Montgomery. If he doesn't, and I don't like my chances, I do think he is the better running back. I think he is in the better situation, and I'm hopeful. I'm hopeful, especially when you've got Oakland has a sweet matchup this week, and pretty much you're playing everyone. You're playing for everyone for Oakland. So I like Josh Jacobs in this. I'm hopeful that he beats David Montgomery. The second matchup I'm focusing on for the keys to this game is the defenses. We have the Browns and the Steelers in our defenses right now. I have the Browns. Daryl has the Steelers. Those two teams are playing in real life. Now, I feel like the Browns defense is getting healthier. The Steelers offense is pretty unhealthy. I think that the Browns defense has a lot of chances to take the ball away from Mason Rudolph. I feel like the Steelers have a chance to take the ball away from the Cleveland Browns offense, but I think the Browns offense, with Kareem Hunt back, with Nick Chubb, with Baker Mayfield showing some signs of life, Jarvis Landry's been playing good football. They need to get Odell Beckham Jr. going. But I think the Browns offense is finally starting to find some traction. Their fans might not. They've been getting booed a little bit. I don't know that Freddie Kitchens is long for that position, but the Browns versus the Steelers is a big matchup for Daryl and I. And I like the Browns over the Steelers in that game. I like the Browns defense more than the Steelers in that game, and I'm picking myself to win. So I'm picking myself to go to 8-3. Really, that would be wonderful for me. That would mean Daryl drops to 5-6. That would be difficult for him. That's a tough spot to be in this week. Again, we're living on the edge. You're going one way or the other right now. That's dumb to say because it's inherently true of any situation. Steve's up there. He's got a pretty good lock on his spot right now on a first round bye. But that being said, Daryl really does need this win. All these 5-5 teams need a win this week. Okay, we got Mark and Sean, and son of a bitch, I don't think I wrote down there. I think they're both 5-5. I'm pretty sure that's what we ended up with there. So, Sean and Mark, this was almost the game of the week. They have a 1-point spread here. 157 for Mark to 158 for Sean. The key to this is that it's Mark's backups versus Sean's starters, and I don't really know what to do with this. That means that's good news for Mark. It's not the best news for Sean that a lot of his starters are playing against a lot of Mark's backups, and he's only projected to win by 1 point this week. I tried to take a look at the benches and make sure that they weren't going to be able to move in other players. It seems like their lineups are pretty set though, where they're at their top production. I think the key here is Sony Michel, and the reason the key here is Sony Michel is because Sean is playing Sony Michel. Mark is starting Tom Brady because the Seahawks are on bye, so all of Mark's roster is on bye, and that includes Russell Wilson, and that means Mark is starting Tom Brady. The Patriots are playing Baltimore, I think. Wow, I'm way off today. That's embarrassing. Yeah, I think they're playing. No, they're playing Philly. Playing Philly. My apologies. So here's the deal here. If you have Sony Michel do well. If Sean has Sony Michel do well, then he wins this game. But if Sony Michel, and that's partially because if Sony Michel has a big day, Tom Brady's day is not as big. And the opposite for me is true as well. If Sony Michel is not having as big of a day, I look at that and say, okay, that means that against Philadelphia, Tom Brady is throwing the ball to James White. He's throwing the ball to Rex Burkhead. He's throwing the ball to his just really not very exciting receiving core at this point. But he's throwing the ball. And I think one thing we've seen is that Philly seems to be a little bit better against the run than the pass. And I don't know that Sony Michel will be the key to this game. I think it will end up being a Tom Brady show a little bit more, and I think that Mark gets this win. So I'm picking Mark to go to 6-5, maybe finally getting out of that underperforming cellar that he's been in, and Sean will drop to 5-6. And so that's what I have right now. Sean's living on that edge. They're both living on that edge right now. Okay. Next game I'm going to go with is Steve versus Lucas. Lucas versus Steve. Einhorn is Finkel. Finkel is Einhorn. So Lucas and Steve currently number 1 and number 3 in our league. Although if you look at point total, Lucas is ahead of me. So his record is worse than mine because he's also underachieving a little bit. And right now the spread is hefty in Lucas's favor. It's 171 to 102. But that's because currently Steve has 4 players in his roster on bye, and he has not put the Patriots defense back in yet. And those 4 players are not slouches. That's Derrick Henry, Devontae Adams, Golden Tate, and Austin Hooper. Now, Austin Hooper has been unbelievable this year at the tight end position. One of the surprises of the year. I had owned Austin Hooper last year and the year before in another league, and was just always disappointed that a tight end in Matt Ryan's offense wasn't doing better. Well, this year he is. He's doing fantastic. So to lose Derrick Henry, who's been just going nuts, Devontae Adams, Golden Tate, and Austin Hooper, that's a lot of players for Steve to replace. He does have the Patriots defense ready to come in, but I think this game comes down to one thing, and that's Christian McCaffrey against the Atlanta Falcons defense, and that's what Lucas has. I feel like I'm a broken record on Lucas. It's all Christian McCaffrey. It's always Christian McCaffrey, but he's projected to get 30 points in this game, almost, I think maybe 31 points. And Lucas is projected to win by a lot. Even I went and looked through Steve's roster, his bench, and there's not a lot of points ready to slide in there. I mean, he does not have Deshaun Watson in, but that is only a 4-point extra projection than Derek Carr, who's currently in his lineup. And then the players coming in for Derrick Henry, for Devontae Adams, for Golden Tate, and for Austin Hooper. Not necessarily anyone you're going to be afraid of. So I am predicting Lucas to beat Steve for Steve's second loss of the year. That would move Lucas to 7-4. That would move Steve to 9-2. Only one game ahead of me in that situation, so get a little crazy there. But again, these are two of our heavyweights right now going at it. Still not the game of the week, though. Still not what I picked. All right, moving on. The next game. This is what I'm calling the lame of the week. The lame of the week between Phil and Adam. Phil at 2-8. Adam at 1-9. Their projection is very close. One of these two teams is going to get a win this week. So it's a very exciting week. One of them has to win. They could take out all of their players. All of them. But they have to put someone in that position, and there's a strong likelihood that someone would end up with 0.1 point, and one of them would have to win a game. So Phil at 2-8, Adam at 1-9. I didn't even write down the projections because this comes down to one thing, and that's Alvin Kamara against Ezekiel Elliott. The fact that those guys have those two players on their rosters is surprising a little bit, but I think that the winner wins in those two, and I am going with Phil. I'm going with Alvin Kamara in this matchup, and I think that Phil goes to 3-8. Destroying his chances of getting the most ping pong balls in the old draft lottery I will be having, and Adam drops to 1-10 and really takes a leg up in that last place race there. Adam heading firmly towards that toilet bowl that we have at the end. Okay, now on to the actual game of the week. Burt versus JD. Nothing about this game jumps off the page and says, like, this is game of the week. I think, somehow I did not write down the scores, but I think it's something like JD 168, Burt 152. It's something along those lines. I'm just trying to get that from memory here. One of them is 5-5, Burt. One of them is 4-6, JD. But the key here is that this epitomizes living on the edge. Okay, I've said that one of these 5-5 teams, which is currently Burt, Mark, Sean. No, that can't be right. Someone is 4-6 in that group, and I don't remember who it is because I think we only have 3 5-5 teams. Let me do a little research here. So we have one of these 5-5 teams, though. Whoever they are, one of them is not going to make the playoffs. Because we have basically Steve is in. I feel like I'm in. I'm not 100%. I could lose the next 3 games and end up 7-6 and miss out, but I don't know that would happen. So I don't know. I'm not going to lose these 3 games. I'm not going to miss. I would make that prediction now. I believe Lucas is going to get in. Lucas's roster is strong. Okay, let me check our league standings here. So I feel like one of these 5-5 teams, and what we're looking at there, here we go. I'm not giving Sean credit. Sean is 6-4. That is so. Sean is 6-4, and Mark is 5-5. I'm sorry, Sean. I didn't give you the credit you deserve. But you're gonna lose this game, so you're gonna be 6-5 anyways, and Mark's gonna be 6-5. So you guys are gonna be tied. Mark, Bert, Daryl. Those are our 5-5 teams. With Steven, okay, with me very close to being in. Lucas has a strong roster at 6-4. I'd count him in, okay? I know Sean is 6-4, but I'm having trouble there. Just his overall points. Just to give you an idea, Sean overall points 1,456. Mark is after him at 5-5, and his overall points. Wait a minute. No, sorry. Sean is at 1,578 points. Mark is after him at 1,838 points. Okay, so almost 300 more. Bert is at 5-5 with 70 overall points more. Daryl is at 5-5 with 60 overall points more. And JD is at 5-5 with 40 overall points more than Sean. So even though Sean's sitting at 6-4, we got some teams behind him scoring more points. Some good, tough matchups here, but I do think that I would put, if my prediction were to be right now, Steve, me, Lucas, Mark is going to make the playoffs. He's just scoring too many points, and eventually the tide is going to turn for him on that. And then it comes down to Steve, or Sean, Bert, Daryl, and JD. Those four are truly living on an edge. And that's why this is the game of the week. We got Bert versus Daryl. Those are two of our teams living on the edge of the playoffs. And JD is the 4-6 team. Bert's the 5-5 team. And JD is projected to win this game right now, 168-152. So that is why I picked this as the game of the week, because they need it. They both need this game. JD still has a chance in this to get back in after what he would describe as a terrible start to the season. And Bert this week, he's got the tougher matchups. He's got Dalvin Cook against Denver. Say what you want about Denver, their run defense is good. Phillip Lindsay against Minnesota. Minnesota's run defense is a lot better than their pass defense. He's got Cooper Kupp against Chicago. Their pass defense is better than their run defense. He's got DeAndre Hopkins versus Baltimore, who started out the season with their defense struggling, but they've been coming on. Meanwhile, JD has Melvin Gordon against Kansas City, which equals buku points, and I think JD winning this game. So I've got JD winning, which move him to 5-6, would move Bert to 5-6. At the end of this, Daryl would be 5-6 if my projections hold true. Mark would be 6-5. Sean would be 6-5, and we have just this last 2 weeks. You get into the playoffs, you never know what's going to happen. You can win this thing. And we've got these guys all fighting for it. And I love it. I love that this is coming down to this. I'm scared. I'm not comfortable with my position. If Daryl beats me this week and he's 6-5 and I'm 7-4, that's, all of these games are very big right now. With the exception of Adam and Phil, which is the lame of the week. It's really the only one that isn't crucial to our standings and our playoff run, and I love that we've come to this point. So I'm just happy, you guys. I'm pumped. I'm happy that we're coming down to the wire here, what we've been building towards, and I'm loving this league, loving the people in this league, and just super pumped you guys are all part of this, and hope you're still watching these videos, because I do them for you. Do them for you guys. All right. I will sign off now, and good luck this weekend, everybody. We're living on the edge, okay? Bye-bye.